Okay, so if you're watching this video, you have clicked on the link and you are needing to be updated about what's currently happening in BIOS 112, Human Form and Function. If you haven't attended class in a while, then this will probably all be news to you. So it's definitely worth watching this video if you have not been to class in a while, just because we're having some very minor not structural changes, but just some shifting around of material. So I guess probably the best way for me to kind of outline exactly what changes have been made is to show you the syllabus. So the syllabus, per as it was written originally, was we had chapter 6, chapter 7, chapter 8. And if you look here, there's actually a typo because if you look at weeks 7 and 8, that is in fact incorrect. This should be obviously not the 29th and first 2 times in a row. This was actually what we covered this past week. And so the dates here are in fact wrong. And because of that, we need to alter essentially the plan for the rest of the semester, which is fine. But ultimately what happens because of this is we are going to omit the muscular tissue chapter. I'm still going to record the lectures on the muscular tissue chapter because I do not want to deny you that information. If you're so interested to learn about muscular tissue, that chapter will be recorded and posted. What this has done is provided you another extra as an opportunity for extra credit. So the homework for chapter 10, the quiz for chapter 10 will be opened up, and this will be extra credit, and those need to be completed by the end of the semester. Those will both be worth 10 points. So if you complete them in their entirety, you will earn those 10 points. This is extra credit that's due by the end of the semester. So again, the material in chapter 10 is considered extra credit. Now, moving forward to where we are going to be starting this week, we will be covering the material on chapter 11. So you will still have assignments due next week. This does not get you out of work. Ultimately, you still have your homework due on Monday night at midnight, and you still have your quiz due on Friday, except for the only difference is that it will all be all about chapter 11. You'll also notice that the pro section, second pro section is due next Friday as well. So that's worth just noting is that you have another pro section due next Friday. It is not opened up yet on Wiley Plus. That's kind of the last shoe to drop here, and that information will be loaded up momentarily. So again, this week we'll be going over chapter 11, muscles of the head and face, muscles of the extended skeleton, all of the muscles. Now, recognizing that muscles, skeleton, bones and bone structure, it's a lot of information. So this week we've got muscles, and then next Tuesday we'll be doing a review over the chapters 6, 7, 8, and 11, right? We've got a ton of material there, and we're going to go ahead and spend an entire classroom just reviewing it. And then you'll notice that there is no quiz in exam 2 over chapters 6, 7, and 8, and 11 on the 22nd. Just recognize that there is no adaptive practice due that week either. So again, kind of a win-win. You get to spend your time studying for the exam. Again, I recognize this is a lot of material. So between that lecture you have on that Thursday and between that and the time to that following Thursday, you have an entire week to study for this exam. So there should be no excuse for you not to say, I just didn't have enough time to memorize all that. I'm trying to, again, give you a little bit buffer because I recognize this is a very dense region time in this course. So memorizing is key. Now, with that in mind, I've also afforded some study guide material that might be useful to you. So next thing I'm going to show you is a little study guide that I've put together. This is a little introductory slide. So list of bones to know. I know this list looks super long, but just recognize there's a lot of repetition here. So here you have the bones of the skull. Recognize that I have crossed off the 3 bones that are in the ear just because we didn't talk about them at all. So that you're not required for that material. The torso, you literally have bones 1 through 12. So if you can figure out where number 1 is, you hopefully should be able to number the remaining ribs. The cervical, the vertebrae, again, if you can just memorize the number of vertebrae within each region, cervical, thoracic, lumbar, and so forth, you should be good to go to there, not a ton of memorization. And then in terms of the upper and lower extremities, you'll just notice that the phalanges have, your proximal and distal and middle, again, are taking up a majority of the memorization occurring here. So really, hypothetically, this should not be as a difficult task as originally kind of when you hear somebody say, I have to learn 206 bones. You're thinking of 206 individual bones. That is not the case. If you could really probably pare this down to a much shorter list. A lot of these bones are repeaters and just have, subtle differences between them. Now, with that being said, if you're a person who enjoys labeling, I have basically gone through and created a worksheet for you to go ahead and practice labeling bones. Here are the blank spaces. Here's the answer. Here's the blank spaces. Here are the answers. So on and so forth. So I've gone through, essentially made these sheets. And so there's, for every slide where you see those squares, the following slide has the answers. And so there should be no excuse as to what's the answer to that. But this does allow you, everywhere you see a box or a square is something that you'll be required to know. So you might see a question like that, similar to an exam. Hopefully you find this study guide helpful. I'm happy to get some feedback as to how helpful you found it. But this is, again, another place you can spend a little bit more time and effort studying. Okay, so really quickly, just to review, we are not doing chapters 9 or 10. Okay, not doing those. Chapter 10 material, doing the homework or quiz is extra credit. You will still receive that information via a recorded lecture. We'll be starting in chapter 11, which is the muscular system, starting to memorize the muscles. So please do spend this weekend on the skeletal system, because we're going to just go right into another dense section with the muscular system, which is another dense area of memorization. And I would actually make the argument that the muscular system is probably more difficult because there's not the same repetition that you see with some of the nomenclature that you see with the skeletal system. You still have an adaptive practice due on Monday. It's over chapter 11. And the next Friday, you have a quiz over chapter 11 and a pro section dedicated to chapter 11. The following week after that, no quiz, no adaptive practice. We'll be doing a review session. You almost kind of get a little bit of a break week because we've got that exam coming up. And again, I recognize that this material is pretty dense, and I want to give you that full week to process the material. We'll be spending the time that Tuesday, again, basically hosting a review session in class. I'll probably do a bunch of clicker questions. What is this? What is that? Which, when I say clicker, I mean poll questions that we've kind of been doing already during our review sessions. And I'll be answering questions and making sure everybody feels completely prepared for this exam. I know that it seems like a long ways away because it's almost 2 weeks away, but like I said, it's a very bulky exam, so it's not too early to start thinking about it now. Okay, I'm going to post this video to our Moodle page. I'll also be sending out a link to it in an email to everyone. If you have not attended class in a while, it is probably not a bad idea to think about maybe attending this week, just because it's just good to touch base and make sure that this isn't something that's on your back burner that you're not thinking about and you're like, oh, that exam's coming down the line and I'll attend class a day and take that exam and I'll be fine. It is definitely worth making sure that you spend a little bit of time dedicated to this class in the next few weeks. If you have any questions, I am more than happy to answer those questions via email. If you are a one-on-one person who really does just thrive off of a conversation with another human being, by all means, feel free to schedule a Zoom office hours with me. And if you are a person who's just like, man, I've been doing a lot of Zooming, I would really enjoy, meeting somebody and having a conversation one-on-one. I'm open to doing maybe a socially distanced office hours as well, if that's something that you're so inclined to do. So I know the numbers are rising right now, so we all have to be particularly careful. So please, please, please take care of yourself, take the proper precautions, make sure that you're, washing your hands, masking up, and just, hopefully protecting yourself and your loved ones around you. So I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. And like I said, please reach out if you have any questions or concerns at this time.